Well, I've got some really good relationships with the people at Sanford Health, and they've been after us to come up there for a number of years, and it just never worked. And this year, the BYU thing was attractive. We're going to play them in Vegas next year, so it was a 2-year deal with a great opponent on a neutral court. And unfortunately, it sounds like they're going to bless us with a South Dakota winter day up there on Saturday, but it'll be a great test for our young team.
Is there a coaches versus cancer element to it?
A little bit, just because of Sanford Health is heavily involved in Coaches versus Cancer, specifically Lon Kruger's event in Las Vegas. I've been going to that for 10 or 12 years, so I've been involved. So there's a piece of it because of that. They've been Sanford Health's been very supportive on a lot of initiatives.
Just one more on it. I mean, BYU's good. They've been good the last 2 years. Why did you want to play a team? Because obviously you didn't have to schedule a BYU this year, but with this group. So why did you want this sort of test?
Yeah, I think neutral site games against good teams are good for you. You don't have the luxury of the home crowd, and yet you're not in the middle of a hornet's nest on somebody else's floor. So you get a chance to play a good team, probably with some fans from both teams in attendance. And I think that's good for the growth of your team, and the timing of it. Coming right after finals, right before we jump into Arizona State and conference play, I thought was good timing to challenge our team. At this point in the season. Well, they're old. The two guards are fifth-year seniors, Lucas and Marcello, and they're really talented. They can score in a lot of different ways, and they're just smart. They're tough. They've got an injury issue of their own, losing their big guy to an ACL a couple games ago. So they're kind of retooling and playing at some different lineups because of that. But it's one of those games that's really good for you if you're fortunate enough to have enough success where that matters in March. This is one of those games that people can look back at. Well, defensively was the encouraging thing. As poor as we played offensively with our ball security, to still have a chance to win that game is a credit to our defense. But we've got to learn to be tougher with the basketball, make better decisions with the basketball. That was something I was fearful of going into the season, and it's proven to be true. And I thought we were making strides in that regard. But Iowa State, obviously, what they do defensively and their defensive scheme is a little bit different than most, and we probably didn't do a good enough job of simulating it in practice. Normally, yes, but it's finals week, so we did not practice Sunday, Monday. We had no possible practice times where we could get everybody together on Tuesday, so we did skill work on Tuesday. And then yesterday we really worked on ourselves, and then today we turned the page to BYU. So finals weeks are tough. Obviously, guys, their minds somewhere else. Their sleep patterns are all messed up. So you just try to get as good out of practice as you possibly can. Yeah, I've never played there. I've been there to watch a high school game. It's an unbelievable setting, and it's just got a great old school feel to it. And the people from Sanford, they'll just bend over backwards to make sure the experiences for both teams and fans are really good. So we're excited to play. Yeah, Josh Jones done a lot of work on that, and I'm excited for Josh. Usually when he puts his mind to something, he figures out a way to get it done. And he put that team together last year, and they had some success down in Wichita. And he's been in talks with me and a lot of other people in the community to try to bring a regional here. And to his credit, he was able to get that done. So I think it'll be fun for our fans. It's a time of year where there isn't a lot on TV from a sports perspective, and you get a little bit of a basketball fix in the middle of the summer.
A lot of people, I always think, was trying to take away inside looks, especially when a guy like Paul here. But I wonder if you had a chance to look back at it. Were there ways you could have gotten the ball more, or is that just the type of game where it's just going to be tough?
It was going to be tough. They're really committed to take that away, and when he did catch it, they came after him with double teams, and at times we didn't handle that double team well, trying to get it out of there, and we turned it over. So, we just, we probably were too quick to pick up our dribble on a lot of occasions, and sometimes against pressure, that's, you got to be tough with that basketball not to pick up the dribble. And the easy thing to do is just pick up the dribble and hope somebody bails you out, and we probably did that too often against Iowa State. I was at the game last night. Yeah, it was good. Wanted to see him and Ashley and Tucker, so it was good. It's good to see him. He's doing a good job, and obviously his son makes him a pretty good coach, like my son did for me.
I don't know. When I first started covering you guys, D-Rock was here, Lutz was here, and I wondered, did you ever have conversations with them at that time about what they hope to do in the future? Both are obviously having success.
Yeah, obviously they both want to be head coaches, as do the guys on my staff now, and it's my hope that that can become a reality for these guys, like it did for D-Rock and Lutz. And Lutz brings his team here on Saturday night to play UNO. So, it's good to see them doing well. I'm not surprised. They're both great guys and also terrific basketball coaches. That probably was a R-rated conversation at halftime, knowing D-Rock would be my guess.
How would you kind of gauge the way that Ryan Neckart has settled into these first games?
I think it's probably beyond anybody's expectation. Freshmen usually can't have this kind of impact, and some of it he's had to do it. He's had to fight through it with Sharif's injury. Like, he's had to play, and he's had to play a lot of minutes, and because of that, you just have to play through the mistakes. And when you play through the mistakes, sometimes you improve a little faster. Where some of our other freshmen, they're kind of platooning with another guy, and you can get them out. You can let him think about it on the bench a little bit and talk him through it. But R2's really had to, put his head down and fight his way through it, and is doing an awesome job running our offense. And the future's pretty bright for him. No, not really. I had watched, Northwest Missouri a few times just because I was curious, because obviously they had great success, and I like watching successful programs. So I was aware of who he was. I had no idea the level of player that he is. Obviously he's, and he's older. It was easy to see in that Iowa State game who was older, who's played in those kind of situations before, and who hasn't. He just doesn't let those kind of things speed him up, and that comes with experience. Thank you.
There were definitely some things we took away. It was a learning experience for us. They're a tough team. They're hot right now. They played really well, and I think it'll give us some good experience for the future. Once we start playing conference, those teams they're big, strong, and aggressive. So I thought it was a good lesson for us, and it was a good opportunity for us to play a team like that. Those conference games are coming quick, so the more games and the more experience we can get, playing big, strong, physical teams is definitely going to help us.
BYU is obviously one of those big, strong teams. How important is ball security, especially the way that things went against Iowa State?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a huge part of the game. The amount of turnovers we had against Iowa State wasn't a good thing, and we can't do that, especially if we want to win games, and you can't turn the ball over that much. So it's going to be a big key to our game, and just being ready, everybody being ready off the bench, starter, whatever position you're coming off of, is just being ready. And they're a disciplined team, so to beat discipline, you have to play with discipline. So we're going to have to be ready, and we're going to have to play disciplined basketball.
Way more defensive responsibilities, and I don't know if maybe you would expect it. So how different is your prep for games than maybe it has been in the past?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's obviously a little different. I have to, watch more film and, be more aware of who I'm guarding at all times. Usually I'm probably guarding the leading scorer or some kind of shot maker or playmaker guy. So my prep has been different than in the past. Obviously, I'm more locked in on defense, and my defensive role is more important and more critical to the team's success. So, I'm really trying to take that on and just, be the best that I can be in that defensive role, and obviously let the offense come naturally.
How impressed have you been with R2 and the way he's kind of handled just being thrust into the starting role as a freshman?
Yeah, I've been very impressed. He's played with a lot of poise. He's played under control for these games. I think he's done a really good job for us, especially not having Sharif to 100%. He's really stepped up, and he's been a big part of some of these victories for us. So, if he can continue on that trend, and, we can continue on that trend together as a team and just continue to play together, then, he can be a big part and he can be the glue piece for our team.
With this being finals week, I feel like the freshmen handled the load of classwork and practice and all that, especially when you were a freshman. It's a different place, but how much of a load is that as a freshman? And how well do you think they've handled it this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely for a freshman, it's something new, managing that load and, being prepared and studying and being prepared for those tests that are early in the morning or, in the afternoon it's a big thing, especially, trying to balance it with the basketball obligations that we have. But I think they've done a good job. I mean, our academic advisor, Adam's done a good job helping them, get their stuff together, study hall hours and tutoring and all that stuff. So I think they've done a good job. I mean, it's important that you handle the academics first, so that way it doesn't come back to bite you, when we're traveling during Christmas break or that kind of stuff.
You're out of routine a little bit this week. Is that part of it?
Maybe. I wouldn't say too much. I mean, we've had 2 days of practice in a row, back to back, so we're getting back to our routine, and we'll practice down up there, or over there, and tomorrow. So, I mean, we've got a good routine going. We had a good, solid practice today, I think. So it's important that we have 2 very solid days of prep. Usually that is pretty telling in our game success. The way we prepare is kind of how we play. And so for us to have 2 good days of prep is important.
For you, I guess, in that sense, other guys are kind of going through the finals for the first time.
Yep, and don't miss those days. Don't miss them.
What's kind of your advice to some of the freshmen who are having to juggle finals like that with practice?
Time management the week before finals is big. That way you don't feel like you have to cram the week of finals. Other than that, just be able to manage your time. That's big.
You talked about how I was thinking maybe that practice, one of the practices was great. Is the goal now to just, because you're going to have days where you're not your best as a team, is it fix it faster? Is that sort of what you want to take away from it? What lesson do you want to learn from, being able to maximize that day in practice?
I feel like we can't have a bad day the first 2 days. You just can't have bad days. You got to recognize you're having a bad day, and you got to be able to flip the switch and fix it. And it can be 1 or 2 guys that aren't normally vocal, stepping up, bringing energy. Little things like that can fix the attitude of a practice right away. I felt like we did a really good job of that the last 2 days, and we've had a couple days leading up to the BYU game that have been really good practices for us.
How much is fixing kind of the turnovers, ball security, been an emphasis this week, especially the way you guys play against Iowa State?
Yeah, it's been a big focus for us this week, and I feel like we've done a really good job of kind of calming the game down, but still playing at that tempo that we like.
When you started slowly this year, you're just like, whatever. I mean, it sucks, but
They'll fall or they won't fall. You can't do anything else. You got to still play defense, rebound, do all the things.
I
But
was kind of curious about your mentality at that.
no, there was a.
Wants to make shots, but
Yeah, I went 0 for 11 on a Thursday and then 0 for 7 on a Saturday once. So I've gone 0 for before, and it's the worst feeling, but they'll fall.
right, it evens out.
Exactly.
You played at this level long enough to be around a variety of players. Does R2 play like a freshman?
No. His demeanor, his composure is not of a freshman. And I think that's really big for our team going forward. And he's done a great job just controlling that tempo and that pace for us.
Anything else? You good?
Thank you, guys.